Today we're going to create brute force password word lists using real-world password databases that have been leaked on this episode of Cyberweapons Lab. Now, brute forcing a password often involves using word lists, and word lists are usually very, very long, and it can still take millions of attempts until you finally crack the password. So word lists are slow and they're often easy to detect. But today, we're going to create a targeted word list using actual leaked credentials from data leaks in the past. We're also going to be using a tool called, I think it's pronounced Pipal, which will allow us to analyze all of the passwords from the data leak and find common patterns so that we can better select and curate our word list. If you'd like to read more about this topic, go ahead and check out the article link in the description. And in order to follow along today, you'll need a computer running Linux. So really what we're going to do in this video is we are going to find the best possible passwords for a word list. We're going to do this using Pipal, which will give us a bunch of insights into a list of passwords that we give it. It'll show us what the most common passwords are. It'll show us what the most common patterns are, what the most common numbers are, and all sorts of other interesting things. So this is really the main thing we're going to use to figure out where we can pack the most punch in terms of passwords we can use. So in order to install Pipal, first we need to have Ruby installed. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the command for that. You need to be sudo to run apt get install ruby 2.5 git. Alright, I already have Ruby installed, so I got this message, but if you don't, go ahead and use that command. Now that we have that installed, let's go ahead and clone the repository for Pipal. So Pipal is, first let me navigate to my repos directory. I like to keep everything clean, so I have my own directory for repositories. So Git Clone, https github.com / DigiNinja is the guy who made Pipal. He also makes a lot of other really cool ethical hacking tools, so you should totally check him out. Pipal.git. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and navigate to Pipal. And then now that we're here, let's go ahead and run it. Ruby 2.5, pipal.rb. All right, so as you can see, not a whole lot's going on here. Pipal really just has one function. It takes in a text file, a bunch of passwords, and it does a bunch of analysis on that, and it spits out like a report, essentially. So let's go ahead and use it. Now, I already have a bunch of passwords from a data link that I downloaded, and they're currently residing in my repos directory. So we're just going to use that list. It's not super long. That's for the sake of time. If I were to use like a gigabit long list, it would take a very long time and potentially even crash my computer because my computer sucks. Ruby 2.5, pipal.rb, and we're going to use the top command to select or display the top most common passwords, and output, we can just output it to results. And I believe my thing is called leaked passwords.txt. All right, it's going to take a bit of time, not too long, because the password list is still fairly long, just not huge. Okay, so now that it's finished, let's go ahead and check out the results. What did I name it? Results.pipal. Yeah, here we go. Okay, cool. So we went to the very end. Let's go up to the top. All right, let's go ahead and instead, let's go ahead and check this out inside of a more capable viewer. All right, cool, here we go. All right, so it shows the top 500 passwords. My word list wasn't super long. It was 720,000. So, I mean, still pretty long, but there weren't a whole lot of repeat passwords. We can see the top 500 here if we go down. Okay, so here we have a distribution of the length of the password. So we can see the most common length is to have 3 characters. Obviously, this leak is not from a site that requires you to have 8 or more characters in your password. Excuse me, the most common is 4, with a close second being 3. We can see a very small number were only lowercase, and a very small number were only uppercase. Gives you all these kinds of statistics. First capital, last symbol. Single digit on the end. Okay, so 13% of passwords had a single digit on the end, 2 digits on the end. 20% of passwords had 2 digits on the end, and 12% had 3 digits on the end. And then here's the most common last number of the passwords in this list. So the most popular, it seems like, was 1, and then followed hopefully by 3, and then 2. And you can see that again here in a distribution plot. So 1 and 3 are the most common, and everything else is roughly equal. You can see the most what the last digit was, last 2 digits. So 2, 3. I imagine people were typing 1, 2, 3. So yeah, this is really the bread and butter of Pipal. All of this statistical information we can use as essentially a model to construct much better word lists and eliminate a lot of passwords that wouldn't be particularly useful. Down here we can see the most common character ordering. So most of the passwords were a string and then a set of digits, and then digits and then a string, and then string, digit, string. So that'd be like cat 1, 2, dog, something like that. So yeah, more and more detailed analysis that really shows how passwords are created, how they're ordered, and the kind of patterns that we can use to construct good passwords and word lists. That's pretty much it.
If you like this tutorial, be sure to check out our website, where we have hundreds of free articles and videos, as well as premium paid content like the Ethical Hacking Certification Bundle, which features pen testing with OWASP Zap, WordPress hacking and hardening, and the CompTIA Cybersecurity Analyst prep course. Check out the link in the description below.
And that's all there is to it. So as you can see, using this process, we are able to create much more effective and much shorter and therefore faster word lists. So I think one key thing to take away from this is, I'm sure everyone's heard this before, don't use the same password on multiple accounts. One of the main reasons doing something like this works is because people do that, so we can use their passwords which have been leaked from other websites to try to crack passwords on different websites. So yeah, that's it. If you would like to learn more about this topic, again, go ahead and check the article link in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Tim51092. And have a good day, guys.